diorama of the Badgers practice area. I know they're tearing down the shell where I was dunked on more than a few times in pickup ball to make way for a new facility. I don't understand. They're practicing on a grass field and you're in a parking garage?
Correct. Yeah. It's only been here for about 25 years. It's the same field that we practiced on back in the mid 90s. So I can understand how you wouldn't understand that, but yeah, there's a parking ramp next to it, and there's a grass field right next to Camp Randall Stadium. And I'm going to tell you something. You always want to practice on grass whenever you can, and I think that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, when I covered Badger football, they practiced on that grass field. But you know where I was? I was on the grass field, on the side.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's shady up here, and I'm soft.
You're shady.
Plus, you get a really nice angle. So, yeah, it's a win-win for all of us soft media folks rather than standing on the in the sun, baking. Get a nice angle. And it's shady.
Do you get a lawn chair? Or paint the picture? Oh, big stander.
I just did. I'm standing in a parking garage. I'm waiting for Deep Throat to come by and give me all the info on who the starting quarterback's going to be, what our season record's going to be, all those things. And I'm literally looking out right across, watching the fellas get into some competitive, it looks like goal line red zone type situation to start practice.
And since you're not on the sideline like you were at UW-Platteville, does that mean there'll be less distractions as you try to do the program?
This will be less distractions, but I'm sure still distractions will come because I get distracted really easily, as you know.
I've heard that. Yeah. Is Matt LePay there with you with a chocolate ice cream cone?
He does not have a chocolate ice cream cone, but you know Matt's the hardest working man in show business. So yeah, he's here just collecting info, doing what he does.
You want to have Deep Throat take a new picture of you for our video stream so we can get a
great idea.
Better understanding of where you are?
I will get you a Deep Throat version of this. First off, I don't like saying Deep Throat to you guys. And
you brought up Deep Throat.
I understand, but you guys keep using it. So yes, I'll get you that for the next break.
Okay. Wonderful.
Deep Throat photographer coming up a little bit later in the program. So you tweeted something during the show, and are you okay?
Yeah, no, just frustrating play. Continue.
You can't keep making noises every time a play
You
happens.
guys don't have to react to it. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Boys are getting called up early. I think it's like, get your blank together. Let's go.
Oh, boy.
That's my opinion. I'm not sure what.
Tough day at practice today.
It's not a great start, no.
Sounds like we should have one of those once in a while as well.
Yeah, I think I was just going to say, our start, we should be getting yelled at.
Call an early timeout. Get it together here.
Not today, maybe yesterday, 27 minutes of a gas tank discussion. But be that as it may, so you're there at practice.
Yep.
You will keep us updated on the goings-on. But yesterday during the show, and we didn't really get to discuss it, but you got a lot of replies. You tweeted, which is oftentimes a really good indicator of you have a thought that might potentially be interesting. So you posted yesterday on X, as we like to call it, I don't want anyone to vomit with nervousness about this question. Ha ha, very good. You're funny. But if you, all caps, very proud of you, could draft only one Packers wide receiver in fantasy football, who are you taking?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting that I brought that up because I didn't even know Max is in a fantasy football league with some of his football teammates, and he's going through the draft. They had it at 9:00 last night, which I think was crazy, but that's what they did. And guess how many Packer wide receivers were drafted in that? I think they have an 8-person league, 16 rounds. Guess how many Packer wide receivers were drafted with a bunch of kids that I think outside of one kid that drafted all Chicago Bears, Run Dog, who's an avid listener to the program. He drafted every Bear. Like, he literally is starting a Bear every spot, which pretty much tells me he wants to finish dead last. But how many Packer wideouts do you think were drafted?
5, because Bo Melton got picked 2.
The answer is 0.
0?
Not one wideout. And I told Max late to take Romeo Doubs. And I don't know who he ended up. I think he ended up having to get a kicker or a defense, so he couldn't. But that was, to answer my own question on Twitter, I'm a Dobbs guy. You've kind of entrenched yourself with Dubois. I'm Watson Dobbs. Those are my guys. And I still believe Dobbs is going to be the guy. And if I was playing fantasy football and I'm going Packer wideouts, because there's so much variance as far as who that player could be, you're not going to see a Packer wideout off the board early in fantasy drafts, I don't believe.
All right. First of all, I'm a Wicks guy if I have to be pinned down. As much as I love Grant Dubose, not Dubois, we will see what he ends up doing this season and if he makes the roster. He will certainly get plenty of opportunities in the game on Sunday in Denver. But I'm surprised because Jordan Love did throw 32 touchdown passes. He did throw for 4,100 yards last year. Those yards and those touchdowns do have to go to someone, even if you don't like the. Yeah, but late in the draft, I feel like those Packers wide receivers were potential bargains. What I'm saying.
I agree, but the problem is, what you're always looking for is, he's the guy. He's not going to get vultured. He's going to get the touch, and we don't know that right now. There's more variance and probably more so than even last year. Last year, you would have thought Dobbs and Watson, because they're the veterans, you didn't know who was going to emerge. This year, it's even more of a crapshoot, I believe, as far as guessing and trying to pinpoint who's going to be that guy. So, yeah, and most of the responses were Dobbs or Reed, at least the ones that I've saw, and then a couple of Watsons with the caveat of him staying healthy.
Well, that is a big caveat. He had another big deep ball catch, not deep throats, deep ball catch yesterday in practice from Jordan Love. So we will see how the wide receivers unfold. But I think this is, for me anyway, this is a place your bets on who you think will emerge as the go-to guy.
It's not just for you. That's the reality of where they're at. That is what is going to happen. And it is a wide open operation. The good thing is, I don't think you're going to have anything come up if you're shooting dice. I don't think you're going to have a snake eyes or a midnight blue. I think there's a good chance you're going to hit on a 4 or you're going to hit on a 10. Normally it's, who's the 6, 7, 8? Because those are the numbers that get rolled the most. I think this is a year you could say, well, it could be a 9 or a 10, and you're going to get paid out bigger on your odds. That's the beauty of fantasy football. That's the beauty of throwing dice.
I gotta learn how to play dice, because otherwise I'm never going to understand these. What's a midnight blue or whatever you said?
Boxcars. Some people call it boxcars. It's when you roll 2 6s. You get monster odds on it, but it doesn't happen very often. You know what I'm saying?
Horn! Yeah. All right. Well, I did not have an exclusive one-on-one with Jordan Love yesterday.
That's not what Jesse SportsCenter said. And why is Jesse putting his seat number down? Is he like wanting people to come and buy him popcorn and Coors Lights at the Brewers?
He wants them to pull up.
I was channeling my Riley Yauk from a few weeks ago when he said the same thing in his SportsCenter update.
These sports centers are starting to get very individualized. Like Riley talking about UFC and who his favorite fighter is, and then he's like teasing if Wisconsin's in the top 25. Like, I feel like we're getting very it's becoming very fluid as far as what these updates are. Like, do we care if Riley had a coffee this morning? Like, where he got his biscuits?
Would you like to show me how it's done? Would you like to do the next SportsCenter update?
Much like most of us in the media, we just sit and criticize. When called upon to actually do it, no, we're not going to do it. We're just going to criticize.
Well, I hope people will pull up and see Jesse. What section are you in again, Jesse, so everybody knows?
230 tonight. Section 230. We're going to get the Brewers a nice win. They're due.
I'm starting to hear a lot of whining about the big market, small market. Like, nobody was whining when we're still in a great spot. But is it just that the Dodgers it's just gives Brewers fans the queasies because they got Shohei, they pay all this money, and we know we can't do that, and they beat us in the NLCS a few years ago. They're beating us this series. is it just that we are feeling our insecurities? Because nobody was saying that. It's like, hey, this is a gritty, tough team. And now I feel like we're starting to pout a little bit. It is what it is.
I mean, that could be a little prisoner of the moment because of the Dodgers being the team that's coming to town, and I think that's exactly. They put the bats on the Brewers the last couple of nights, so I mean, it's been extra prevalent. They're a great offensive team. Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be one of the narratives. And when the Phillies and the Dodgers are kind of like the tier 1 of the National League and the Brewers are tier 2, and you look at, okay, the Phillies and Dodgers have spent a bunch of money and they've got all these great players and their rotation is stacked and their lineups are stacked, and the Brewers
but we knew
don't have that.
We knew that going into it. Like, it is what it is. Like, that is just the reality, and that's why our expectations as Brewers fans aren't the same as they are as Packer fans or as Milwaukee Bucks fans.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
It's different because, like, the Brewers have found their way to win, just like the Rays did for a while, and some other teams around the league have. But when you're playing the Dodgers this week, and you can say, when looking at the Dodgers, could the Brewers ever be that? And
no.
And the answer is no. Then, yeah, there's a difference between large market and small market.
Hey, how many championships have the Dodgers won in the last 15 years with their payroll being probably, 10x of what the Milwaukee Brewers is?
1.
Okay. Now, granted, I want one, but everything has to fall perfectly, and that's why it's just different. But I'm just curious. Like, I just see that argument coming up on Twitter a ton. And the reality is this is where we're at, and things aren't going to change. So and I think the Brewers deserve a ton of credit. Their front office has been dynamite, continuing to give this team a chance to have a chance. I don't know if you can get over the hump. The odds are you can't because of payroll and because of talent. But Craig Karmazin on Sunday Karma said, hey, it's a fluky. The Brewers not winning a championship or getting to a World Series is fluky. I disagree with him. But all you can do is give yourself a chance, get in there, and then the question is, do you have the starting pitching, which is usually what dictates these series? And that's where I think we're a little nervous as Brewers fans that we're never going to be able to get over the hump because we don't have those horses to do it.
And in fairness, the Dodgers, while they only have one title in the last decade, they have been to the playoffs 11 years, soon to be 12 years running.
Yeah, the Brewers
have
been always 6 or 7 out of 9.
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, they've had, but I would argue that they have given themselves a better chance to have a chance.
Hey, no blank.
So
blank.
Are you a little irascible today?
No, I'm not. But it's just that I'm not harassable. I'm in a great mood. Like I said, I'm in the shade, so I feel really good about where I'm at.
All right. Well, I want to get to some of the things that Jordan Love had to say yesterday before we get to Bryan Bulaga and all the things he'll have to say.
Oh, Big Blue.
Today.
Hopefully you don't put him to sleep like you did with.
Yeah, we got to give him some grief about that.
I don't know. Am I giving him grief or giving you grief?
I think there's an actual reason that he appeared to be falling asleep. We'll let Blue explain that when we get to it. But until then, one thing that never puts me to sleep is the excitement that is generated by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and their new current big-time 0% for 60 months deal.
Yes, indeed. How do you say welcome to your guests, whether you're down at AmFam Field coming over to say hi to your good buddy Jesse Nelson, well, you say it with a new entry door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and you say it with color. The possibilities are endless thanks to Pella's custom colors. And then, of course, we say it with class. And when you think class, Pella's premium doors stand out due to their distinguished craftsmanship. You also say it with a great deal. And Gina texted us last week. I thought, well, man, pretty good deal here, 0 for 3. No. She said, give them 0 interest for 5 years. And if you have a hard time with years, it's 60 months. No money down and equal payments across the board. But hurry up, this offer ends. We're already halfway through August, people. Ends on August 31st of 2024. Certain restrictions do apply. Visit PellaWI.com today to learn more.
Jordan Love, lots of interesting stuff from our conversation with Jordan Love yesterday. We'll get to it next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
You've paid too much for that nice ride. Why put it through a gas station car wash when you can treat it to Tsunami Express instead? At Tsunami Express Car Wash, you can expect nothing but the best with unlimited wash memberships, state-of-the-art wash technology, and powerful free vacuums. With their 5th location opening at 5209 West Fond du Lac Avenue in Milwaukee, make sure to stop by and get a free car wash from August 21st through September 1st. That's a $22 value for free. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat. Learn more at TsunamiExpress.com.
An epic Brewers homestand kicks off August 9th, featuring a division duel against the Reds. First place battles with the Dodgers and Guardians, plus 3 giveaway games. Find the game for you at brewers.com/tickets.
Looking for a better used car interest rate? At Ewald, we make it easy to save thousands during the used car rate reduction event. Get rates as low as 4.9% on Ewald Automotive Group's best used cars. 4.9% on over 600 vehicles at 10 locations. Increase your purchase power with a better used car from the name Milwaukee has trusted for 60 years. Don't wait. Get a better rate. Available to very well qualified customers. Up to $20,000 financed for up to 48 months. See dealer for details. Offer ends August 31st.
Discover the difference at findhigherlove.com/CBD. Higher Love Cannabis Company is the only cultivator in the UP offering organic, clean green certified products. That means quality you can trust every time. With 7 locations across the UP, including Menominee, Norway, and Ironwood, finding your Higher Love is easier than ever before. And for our friends in Green Bay, Higher Love is less than an hour away. Kindness starts with you. Experience Higher Love today. Visit findhigherlove.com/CBD and follow them on social media at findhigherlove.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Tri-City National Bank offers a full suite of personal and business banking products at 28 convenient locations. Open your account today at the community bank that was voted Milwaukee's best bank. Learn more at tcnb.com.
Lucas Van Ness was all over the field and filled up the box score in the Packers' preseason opening win over the Cleveland Browns. The second-year defensive end recorded a sack, 2 quarterback hits, and 3 tackles for loss in just 23 snaps. Head coach Matt LaFleur said expect to see more of Van Ness on the field this weekend.
Every rep is so valuable for him. Get him more game action, and he'll be a guy that I would anticipate playing in this next game as well.
The Packers visit the Denver Broncos on Sunday for preseason game number 2. Kickoff is set for 7.
This has been your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Tri-City National Bank.
Need to find that perfect home? Don't sell. Upgrade with a home equity loan. Renovate that kitchen. Retile that bath. You choose the fixtures. Let us do the math. Tri-City National Bank. Equal housing lender. NMLS 433891.
Do you remember that electric moment when you suddenly realized that she was the one?
The one you were going to love forever.
The one you'd been waiting your whole life to meet.
She is the one.
The one.
Now it's time to find the one engagement ring that sparkles like she does.
Come to Kessler's Diamonds. We have a collection of incredibly special diamond engagement rings called the One Collection.
You need one special engagement ring for the one woman you will ever love.
Kessler's Diamonds is the one jewelry store where you can find the One Collection.
And Kessler's is the one store that offers the world-famous, no excuses, no fine print, lifetime warranty on every diamond engagement ring we sell.
We have the freedom to do this for you because Kessler's Diamonds is the one diamond store owned by its employees.
The One Collection starts at just $550.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Find the Kessler's nearest you at Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Tausch live from a parking garage as he watches Badgers practice. Whistle! No horn. Whistle. As that rolls on, Packers quarterback Jordan Love spoke with reporters at his locker yesterday, including...
I heard there was an exclusive.
This
my
reporter.
SportsCenter update, which I'm getting most of my sports from lately. How was that exclusive?
I never said it was an exclusive. I said Jason Wilde had a Q&A with Jordan Love, and he did.
Oh. Okay.
In fairness to Jesse, he did not use the word exclusive, but he implied the word exclusive, which was not the case. But Domovsky and I carried it, man. There was not a real big crowd around Jordan, so he and I got a lot of questions. And sometimes you ask a question or two that you're trying to buy time to keep it going. So I asked like a Josh Jacobs question. Josh Jacobs had 1 carry in the game. They only played 3 plays. So
what's your favorite ice cream flavor, Jordan? Stuff like that.
Do you find chocolate ice cream to be gross? But Jesse, I don't know how many of the questions you wanted to get to throughout the show today, but I did bring up the vomit quote from Matt LaFleur to Jordan because I really wanted to understand how he views my guy, Dontavion Wicks, not to be confused with Dubois, Smitty Dubois, who's not on the roster. That's a great photo. Now I have a much better picture, if you're watching on the video stream, of how Tausch is watching practice. That's a really nice perch.
Yeah, it's a
that
great
works really well for you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I don't know if I'll get back over here because eventually we're going to get out to the camp and get going. But, yeah, it's a beautiful perch. I tried to tell you that. I guess I didn't paint a great enough picture.
No dazzling details from you. Whether or not we got dazzling details from Jordan Love on the wide receiver situation, I'll let you, Tausch, be the judge. Here is that exchange from yesterday.
Jordan, I made the mistake yesterday of prefacing a question about Wicks by mentioning the lack of a number 1 receiver, and Matt got after me a little bit. I'm still trying to understand that with as much talent as you guys have at the top of that depth chart, and even down the depth chart, where does Dontavion kind of fit into the puzzle that is that group?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, we have a real deep, receiver group, which, like I said before, is a good problem to have. We got a lot of guys that can go out there and make plays, be in different positions, move all across the field. So I think it's great. I mean, we'll mix those guys up. If one guy gets tired, another guy just go in. So we just have, fresh guys out there. But as far as he mixed in the lineup, I mean, you saw last year. I mean, all those guys can be anywhere. I feel like they can all run different routes. So I mean, it was all play dependent. If a guy's number 1 read, things like that. So we'll see. We'll see as the season goes in, get more game plan stuff going. But I think all those guys can fit in anywhere.
So this isn't unprecedented. Like in 11, Aaron used to say, "My favorite receiver is the one who's open," and you're kind of in that same spot right now with all this talent. Do you think you guys will get to a point where maybe you can even make, you said play specific, do you think maybe there'll be a point where even though every guy can run every play, there'll be certain plays that you like a lot better for Tay or you like better for Christian? Or can you get to that point in the offense now as compared to where you were last year, still trying to figure everything out?
No, I mean, I think we're already there. I mean, you could see that last year and some of the game plans and things like that. Obviously, you want certain guys on certain routes. So that definitely plays into it. You go in that game plan with that in mind, and then in mind, as the game plays out, a guy might be out there and he might be gassed and got to come to the sideline, so somebody else might be in there for that play, or you can just throw another guy in. But I mean, once you get into game plan stuff, there is certain concepts and routes that we like certain people at.
Tausch, I don't know about you, but I loved his answer, especially the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we all hope for. And again, that's great on paper. It is. Mm-hmm. But then it also comes to, all right, this is one of the things, and I remember we had discussions about this 8 years ago with personnel and mixing and matching and tempo. So there's all of these variables that go into it. Now, do I think that there's some route combos that Matt LaFleur and Jordan love with Tay and maybe even with like a Bo Melton? I do. And you can specifically draw that up. But just like anything else, then all of a sudden the defense can say, well, all right, Watson's out. Does that mean they're more apt to run the football? Those are the things you have to kind of keep in mind as you're drawing this stuff up. But yes, in a perfect world, And as this continues on, it will be fantastic if there's just everybody fits into a beautiful little role, and Watson's the deep guy, and Dobbs is the intermediate, and Reed is your everything guy, and Wicks is the – yeah, that's fantastic. But I think Jordan, he's figuring this out too. And at some point, things do switch. Whether or not that's going to be sooner rather than later, I don't know. But what he is saying is exactly how you want to draw it up. But we all know football is not always how it's drawn up. There's a lot of variables to it, and it's having the versatility that these guys can do all of that stuff and can do it, but you fit what they do best and you set it up that way. That's when you have a team that you feel awesome about, and that's where this team is at right now.
As awesome as that is, just like with regular fantasy football drafts, I'd be curious to know how this bevy of wide receiver talent will alter your game plan for Prize Picks this fall.
Well, I'm a little bit nervous about that. I'm not nervous about using Prize Picks because it's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Over 5 million active members. Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers, not against anybody else. Just you against the numbers, and all you do, pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch those winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you play a $5 deal. You don't even need to win to get that $50 bonus. It is, as we love to say, guaranteed. And preseason football is underway. You can pick more or less on 2024 season stats on Prize Picks. I'm already dabbling. Patrick Mahomes, more or less 4,300 yards. Josh Allen, Jordan Love. You can look at your favorite receivers. Josh Jacobs rushing. All of that. Enter your season picks before week 1 even kicks off. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code WI for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code WI on Prize Picks for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, run your game.
We will be joined by Bryan Bulaga. Hopefully I won't put him to sleep. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
On air, online, and on demand. Get all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin content anywhere you get your podcast for free. The new Wisconsin On Demand. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Looking for that ultimate game day hangout during football season? Welcome to Magoo's on the Mound. Now open at 11 a.m. Tuesday through Sunday. With 13 TVs, you won't miss a moment of the action. Enjoy our free 100-square pool with amazing prizes and a complimentary halftime buffet. Plus, we've got great drink specials to keep you cheering. And don't forget, we offer shuttles to and from all Milwaukee baseball games. Magoo's on the Mound, where green and gold fans gather and where every game day is a win.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60-plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Limited time. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Hi, it's Haley from the newest Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek. Come see me today. Haircuts are just $20. Lady Jane's, Oak Creek on Howell Ave, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week, even Sundays. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious accident? It's free. Yes, free, as in it won't cost you anything to speak with us. There's never a fee until we win your case. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for my friends at Kohler Services. Well, now is the time to beat the heat with a refreshing new shower or bath from Kohler Services. A family-owned business for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. And this month only, get 0-interest financing for 12 months and a free shower door with your Lugstone shower remodel. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast, professional installation always included. Again, that's KohlerServicesWI.com.
It's still summer in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin Harley-Davidson in Oconomowoc has you covered for fun in the sun. From bike nights to Saturday rides, or maybe just some retail therapy like a new motorcycle, or just a little something for yourself, there's always something going on. Check out Wisconsin Harley-Davidson at WISHD.com and like and follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and online at WISHD.com. Don't just see the world, feel it. Right here, right now. Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, your destination dealer.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris talk to one of the most controversial basketball stars about his road to redemption. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
Welcome to another episode of Analysis, man.
From Bucks superstar Giannis,
and then I'm going to Chris at the time. What did coach mean? What do you?
And even Green Bay QB Jordan Love. There's only one call for these conversations.
I've never been in the Lambeau, and I have to. Right? What is this Lambeau League?
Tune in to the Thanalysis Show, presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Find it today on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get podcasts.
Wilde and Tausch is presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka produced in Austin, Texas, and naturally gluten-free. Tito's Handmade Vodka.
Got some famous friends you probably never heard of, but back in Rutherford County, our crowd is second to none. You might not know them here in this big city we're in, but when I go back home, I've got some famous friends. Yeah, I do.
You know what that music means? Might mean it's nap time. He is our famous friend with all the insights, breaking down all the film, especially the offensive line. It is former Packers right tackle and future Packers Hall of Famer, Bryan Bulaga, on Wilde and Tausch. Bryan, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Tausch?
You look bright-eyed
again.
You look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, so that's a win for me.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm great. I was great the other night. I'm not sure what you were talking about. I was, it was Declan's first day of training camp, so to speak, for soccer, and I was getting all the updates, and I was just looking down at my phone. But I heard everything clearly. I can multitask.
Okay, good. Yeah, Blue, it's all right, man. Blue, it's all right. Wilde puts a lot of people to sleep, so I think we all understand how that goes.
No, I mean, I'll tell you, it didn't put me to sleep because he obviously had a lot of conversations that he was talking about that he had after the game and in the building. So I was dialed in. I was listening.
Okay, so Blue, since you were so attentively listening, what were the big things that Jason brought up that piqued your interest? Because I want to get into the Sean Ryan and all the offensive line stuff that we always get into, but what are some of the other things that you kind of gleaned from what you saw Saturday?
Well, the thing that I found funny was the whole Coach LaFleur saying the number one receiver talk makes him want to puke. I thought that was funny
which is even Jason, more violent than puking.
Yeah, vomit. When he brought that up Monday, I found that funny because, listen, I understand that we have a lot of talented receivers, and we know that, right? Like, that's very clear that the team is right now. It's very bountiful at the receiver group. But like Jason said it Monday, eventually one of these guys are going to have to be the number one. One of them is going to get paid like the number one. And that's just the way that it goes in the NFL. You can't pay everybody. Not every guy's the number one. So that kind of made me laugh because, I mean, I've been in the building when there's Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, James Jones, Randall Cobb. Like, there was a number one there, and it was Jordy Nelson, and then Jordy left, and it was Devontae. Like, that's just the way it goes. That's late in the NFL. Yeah, there was a ton of talent, but there's always a number one, and that's kind of where they're at. And I get LaFleur's trying to make it that every guy feels appreciated, like they are the number one, like they are the guy, which I get it, right? I totally understand it, but eventually it's not going to be that way. But I found that fun to listen to that and have Jason
Bryan,
explain that conversation.
Yeah, Bryan, I think, and I told Jason this yesterday, I don't think that was him. Like, obviously, Wildy goes super long with his questions, and I'm sure that probably makes LaFleur want to vomit too. But I think he is just talking to his guys. He wants to keep that because, hey, man, we all want our kids to stay young and in that joyful, like, just the best age, but they grow up, and then you have to adjust. And that's what this is going to be when it happens. And Matt LaFleur wants to keep these kids eating orange slices, being happy with what they're getting, but that's not the reality of the NFL because you're going to have to pay guys. And he was talking to his team. He was telling Dontayvion Wicks, don't let anybody tell you you're not a number one. He's telling Dubois, hey, go and grab this spot. These spots aren't locked up, even though I think in their heads they already know kind of where they're headed. But he was talking to his team, not necessarily the vomiting to Jason Wilde. That was my take on it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I mean, he's keeping the peace. Like, that's because, like, we've seen it on other teams before. Like, not everybody can get the ball every play, right? And if I know good receivers, and Devontae says this a bunch, a good receiver, he's always open. That's how they feel. That's how great receivers feel. They're always wide open. They're never covered. And listen, I get that. I can appreciate that. That's the mentality that you want from a top-class receiver, is that, hey, I'm always open. And I understand that, but it's keeping the peace when you have all these talented guys in one room and guys want the ball. So, like, I totally get it from LaFleur's point of view, what he's trying to do, and I can appreciate it.
So, Bryan, when we talk about the wide receivers, we spent a lot of time on that, but I actually asked a couple of people earlier in the week about Luke Musgrave. Now, I know that you were a veteran, but no one was ever saying, boy, Bulaga's had a really quiet camp, because you're an offensive lineman, right?
You want quiet camps, yeah.
That's
yes,
ideal.
I want a quiet camp. Exactly.
This is, again, we've reached the part of the program where Tausch finishes my sentences. So those were good when you're a tight end, and especially a tight end who we were, in fairness to Luke, making a really, really big deal about last year, right? We're talking about how he's faster. He runs at a faster miles per hour than anybody else on the team, and this, and he's getting tons of balls thrown his way. But being a veteran player, you saw guys that kind of, and he's only a second-year guy, so I'm not putting him in your class later in your career. But it seems that his lack of significant plays in 11-on-11 is being downplayed both by the head coach, by the tight ends coach, and by Jordan Love. And should I be in any way concerned about him having a quiet camp? Because Jordan Love's argument is, hey, when we start game planning and planning for specific matchups, you're going to see him getting a lot of opportunities. And he basically said that this defense has done a really good job of taking away some of the stuff that his tight ends do. Does that make sense to you? And should I slow my roll on any concern I might have about a quiet camp from a pass catcher?
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any need to be worried. I mean, I think in camp, defenses really hone in on things and they focus on things and they're preaching, especially a new scheme, and they're trying to take away one thing. That's probably the middle of the field from the tight ends. If you eliminate that easy kind of space of the field that quarterbacks always look to with their tight ends, if you eliminate that, it really helps out the defense in other places. So, like, it's probably something that Hafley's really focused on, is taking away the tight end play. But, once they do get into game plan play, right, like, and they're actually playing real games, he's going to become a a vital part of this, because we're seeing from, obviously, the pass catchers, there's a lot of weapons on the field, and defenses can't scheme for every one of them. And a lot of the times, the tight ends are the ones that slip through the cracks, and they're the ones who end up being open a lot in plays. And so that's kind of what I'm anticipating from Musgraves as this thing starts to go on and game plan starts to happen, that he's going to be a big part, because we all know he's very talented. Like, I mean, I feel like we're beating a dead horse talking about how talented the receiving group is, because they really are. They have so many weapons. And like you want to get everybody the ball, but it's just not possible. That's kind of like going back to the wide receiver thing. Like you can't get everyone the ball all the time, and that's kind of what you're seeing from tight end play. And, I mean, a good example for me would be when we had Jermichael Finley. Like, he didn't get the ball all the time in training camp, although dude was a freak of nature. He was big. He was fast. You could technically always throw it to him and he could make a play, but it just didn't go that way because Jordy was on the outside. Greg Jennings was on the outside. Like, there's just other guys that the ball's getting spread around to. So, I'm not too concerned right now about the tight end position. I think he's going to get plenty of targets, and he's going to become a bigger part of this scheme as we get going into Brazil and moving forward after that.
So, Brian, do you think, and I just tweeted this out because as you were talking, it's just started because I haven't heard a ton, and I know Tucker Kraft's been injured. He's just kind of getting back into it. But Jason's Chipotle buddy, Sims, you're not hearing a lot. And is it maybe because this year the Packers went and said, we're upgrading the heck out of our safety position? Safeties a lot of times are matched up with tight ends. Are we looking at this maybe the wrong way and saying, you know what, we should be excited because our safeties, unlike last year where the tight ends were such a big talk of training camp, maybe the safeties have something to do with this too.
For sure. I mean, we've been hearing about it all camp, how the safety battle next to X, as he's known as, is a great battle. Both guys are playing well. Then we obviously know McKinney's a great player. So, that's a very good possibility that those guys are just doing a great job on the tight ends. And that's a good thing, because it's not only going to make our tight ends better going against good safeties, but it shows that our defense is capable of what I thought a lot last year, that I didn't think our defense was very good against tight ends. You would see tight ends running down the middle of the field around 8-9 yards wide open, catching easy passes, turning upfield and getting 5-6 extra yards. So if that's something that this defense is going to take away from offenses, we got to be happy about that. To me, that's a good thing. So I look at it from both sides as guys are getting good work and we're seeing good results from obviously our defense on it. So I think it's a positive if you look at it in both lights. I'm not worried about receptions in training camp practice right now. That's not something that I'm totally would be concerned about at this point. If we get into week 5 or 6 and the dude's got 10 catches, then yeah, maybe that's something we need to talk about a little bit more. But until that point, I think he's going to be a big part, and it's mostly because of, I think, how athletic he is, how explosive of a player he is. I obviously hope that one part of his game that he's improved on, which I know Tucker Kraft was more this guy, was inline blocking and how he does on the line of scrimmage. And can he be a 3-down type player? That improves your chance of getting the ball more with play actions and things like that. So if that's something that he's improved in his game in the offseason is blocking, then we're going to see way more opportunities for him.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I think we are so concentrated on this wide receiver stuff. We thought, 2 tight ends that emerged last year. How much 2 tight ends set? Matt LaFleur's got a really, really interesting jigsaw puzzle to put together and try and figure out how are we going to do this with the talent that we have. Because, Blue, you know this, guys only get 5-10 reps a game. Maybe we won't hear it publicly, but I can assure you, those little birdies will chirp in the locker room, and that's the thing you have to avoid. So it is a complicated puzzle that Matt LaFleur and Steno have to kind of piece together.
Oh, yeah, it is. When you got this much talent and young talent that they want to prove themselves, they want to show that they can be a key piece to the cog. And if they're not getting that opportunity, you start to get disgruntled employees, and that's the last thing you want with a young team is disgruntled employees. Because, like, obviously you said it, he wants to keep everyone happy. They're young. They don't. I mean, I don't want to say because they are grown men, but they don't know any better right now because they are young and they're so inexperienced within their NFL journey so far that he wants to keep everyone happy. And I get it, but when you've got so many guys that can get it done, from Wicks to Dobbs to Watson, like it's hard to get everybody the rock. So, like, and then you got a running back who you just signed for, what is it, $11 million a year, whatever it was, that he's going to want 15 to 20 touches a game too. So, like, you look at this whole picture, and it's a good problem to have. Like, right, like, I'm not complaining about the problem. It's a great problem to have so many guys that you know can
until
make
it's
plays
not.
and,
It's a great problem until it's not.
Exactly.
Bryan, while the strains of my favorite classic rock band Boston play in Tausch's background along with the horn, one last question about non-offensive line stuff, and then we'll do tackle talk next. I am not asking you about any specific games in which you may not have played your best. Just a general opinion.
Bruce Irvin. See, Blue, this is what he does, man.
I didn't say anything.
I know, but you said it without saying it. You did.
Bo Melton dropped 3 passes on Saturday. He dropped 3 passes on Saturday. I spent some time with him yesterday, wrote about him in the State Journal today. I thought he was in a really good place mentally in our conversation about putting that in the past, burying it, but learning from it. When you have a bad game, is the biggest challenge figuring out, here's what I'm going to take from it, here's what I'm going to flush, because he seemed to me like he was in a good spot, and he needs to bounce back for a guy that's looking to make sure he's on the team, make sure he's got a role in this offense.
Yeah, I mean, you got to balance it, right? Because you have to learn from it. You don't want to completely just say, that's a one-off. That's never going to happen again. So, like, you have to learn from it and be critical of yourself, but not so much that you kill your own confidence, right? Like, I think everyone that's played in the NFL has had a bad game. If you've played a perfect game I don't know who you are. So, like, that's not realistic. But when you have these bad games or whatever it may be, you have to look internally. You have to make the corrections within yourself, because obviously the coaches are going to correct you. But if you have the mentality that you just brush it off like, that wasn't that won't happen again, it's going to continue to happen again because you're not learning from it. So it's from the way it sounds like, when you talk to him, that he's handling it well and he's processing it well. That's good, because you got to learn from it, and then you got to go apply it on the field, because, like you said, this is a very competitive room right now, right? Like, I mean, how many receivers are they going to keep? 5, 6? I don't know. Like, that's a great question. So we already know essentially the 4, right? Like 4 guys that we know of that are definitely going to make this team. So who's going to be 5 and 6 or 5? We don't know how many they're going to take. So he's got to flush it, obviously, but he's got to learn from it, which it sounds like he has, and go out. And the most integral thing that I thought was I wanted to get back out to practice, and start working on it and correct it and
change the
narrative.
narrative.
Work on those things. Yes, and just work on it and watch the tape. This is what I did wrong. Get on the practice field and start correcting those things bit by bit, so that the next game he's going to play a lot in this next preseason game. You can correct those mistakes and justify and rectify what you did the prior game. So I think he's going to be fine. Obviously, we saw a lot of him last year, right? He ended up being a guy that played quite a bit last year. We know what he's about. It's just you got to go out and earn that spot. And with this room, it's going to take some big performances to earn your place in that spot. And, I hope listen, we want the best guys in that room, and we have a lot of good players. It's just like you hate to see someone left out because of a couple drops in a preseason game, but that's how competitive this room is right now, and that's a good thing. But for him, he's just got to learn from it and move on.
All right, Bryan, we will get to – that was a different type of horn there in the parking garage for Tausch. We will get to some offensive line conversation next. Matt LaFleur's at the podium now. For those that thought maybe there was going to be a quarterback change with the number 2 quarterback, that is not the case. Sean Clifford will go first on Sunday, followed by Michael Pratt. Jordan Love will not play. We'll have some more updates from the podium coming up. More with Bryan Bulaga and the questioning of Sean Ryan's conditioning. Uh-oh. That's next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch continues next on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
My Aunt Bella was telling a story, and her speech was a bit slurred. Her smile was drooping. Was she having a stroke? I knew it was time to run through the B FAST checklist. B, balance. Bella was fine. E, eyes. Her vision was fine. F, face. Oh, the drooping. A, arms. She could lift both arms. S, speech. Oh, definitely slurred. T, terrible headache. She had one. Signs of a stroke. I called 911 and saved Aunt Bella's life.
Brought to you by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services Coverdell Stroke Program.
And now for the Pella Play-by-Play, I'm Jeff Levering alongside Gina Della from Pella.
Thanks, Jeff. How do you say welcome?
With a new entry door from Pella.
Say it with color.
Like baseball bat oak or foul pole yellow?
Say it with class.
Like following players' unwritten baseball rules.
With clarity.
Like a no-doubter shot off the scoreboard.
And with this great deal, 0% interest for up to 60 months with no money down and equal payments.
That's the ball game. A Pella walk-off.
Schedule your free in-home consultation at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 8/31/2024.
Hey, it's Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. You've heard me talk about the results mentality has had on my life, but don't just take it from me. Jason has had success too, thanks to mentality.
My only regret is I didn't do it sooner. Knowing once again I've gotten the treatments done and continuing, I do feel stuff does hurt a little bit more, but I'm 40, in my 40s, and that's going to happen. But again, the energy levels, it is above and beyond. Again, I'm back in that age where I'm like, this is amazing.
Get started today at LowTUSA.com.
Homer here to tell you about Rawhide Youth Services. Co-founded in 1965 by Bart and Cherry Starr, Rawhide is a faith-based nonprofit that helps thousands of youth every year, many right here in Milwaukee, overcome trauma, suicidal thoughts, and live better lives. For youth who are hurting, who feel lost or abandoned, and families feeling powerless to help them, Rawhide is there to help. They also need vehicle donations to support their mission of helping hurting youth transform their future. Donate to Rawhide Youth Services. Visit rawhide.org/donate.
Finally, warmer weather, green grass, birds chirping. Don't spend your weekend surrounded by all that junk. Get your free, no obligation, same-day estimate from Two Men and a Junk Truck. You'll restore your sanity and reclaim your space when Two Men and a Junk Truck pulls in your driveway. Visit twomenandajuncktruck.com for your free, no obligation estimate today.
Keep what you love, ditch what you don't.
He just smashed it out of the park. Speaking of smashing, have you heard about Orange Smash?
Oh, you mean the Devil's Backbone Distilling Company canned cocktail? The one with real fruit juice, real vodka, and a splash of bubbles? It's a home run in a can.
It's the perfect drink for game day, whether you're tailgating at the ballpark or watching from home.
Find Orange Smash canned cocktails at Woodman's, Festival Food, or Pick and Save. Visit drinkasmash.com to learn more. Remember, always enjoy responsibly.
Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do, pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Preseason football is underway, but you can also pick more or less on 2024 season stats on Prize Picks. Will Patrick Mahomes throw for more or less than 4,300 yards? Jordan Love, they have them all. Enter your season picks before week 1 kicks off. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code WI for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code WI on Prize Picks for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, run your game.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Rutherford County, our ground is second to none. You might not know I'm here in this big city we're in, but when I go back home, I've got some famous friends. Yeah, I do. dreams to share. He'll flash his lights, but let me go.
Continuing with Bryan Bulaga, our famous friend. Tausch still at practice in the parking garage, high above the grass fields. Hey, Brian, what's the practice setup at Iowa? I mean, obviously they only use half the field because the offense doesn't really do anything. But sorry, I love Kirk Ferentz. I like Kirk Ferentz. I'm sorry, that wasn't very nice.
I just want to say somebody got ranked and someone didn't in the preseason.
Oh yeah, because preseason rankings are very valid or a great representation.
In fairness, Jesse, if we were ranked, we'd be talking about how we're ranked. So it's like Pro Bowls. Pro Bowl's stupid until you make one, or if you don't, well, it's all political. So it's the same basic principles. But yes, preseason rankings mean absolutely nothing. Michigan will not be a top 10 team at the end of the year.
I understand it, but, Jesse comes at me with everything. So, I have some ammo to come back with, and that's, it is what it is.
Very fair.
Like, I don't know. But I will say they redid their whole, football facility. What was it? Probably like 5 years ago.
I heard they named it the Bulaga Complex. Yeah,
that's what I was just going to ask. Do you have a bathroom or something that's named after you?
I wish. We went to that when we toured it again and went through it and watched practice and everything, and that place is absolutely ridiculous. It is so nice. I walked through it. I'm like, not just how nice the facility is, but what I find is they're serving them meals every meal gets served there. They have food waiting for them in the weight room if they pop in during. It's insane. I would have just taken the food. I didn't need the nicer facility. Just the food would have been a good addition to my time at Iowa. That I didn't have to go buy what was it, the burrito pancheros for every meal because that was the affordable thing. You know what I mean? Or obviously I got really lucky, that I met my amazing bride in college because she paid for almost everything. She, my
little sugar mama action. I didn't know that. Okay, a little sugar mama action. I like that.
My parents, they gave me X amount of money every, the start of every semester, which, hey, was fantastic. I didn't expect them to give me anything, so they did. But, that would go quick with grocery runs and things like that. That went out the door. But in season, my parents would come up and they'd stock my freezer with, chicken breast and burgers. But, out of season, I was, hey, scholarship check only was the only thing. I had to pay rent on it and all that. So we'd go out to dinner. She always, took care of me. And, I was very grateful for that. So that was nice. But it'd been nice to get the –
smart. It seems like everybody won in this instance.
I did not have.
Yeah, I got lucky. We'll put it that way. I got lucky.
I did not have Abby Bulaga, Sugar Mama, on my bingo card for today's show, but I didn't expect Tausch to get after Sarah for not having enough gas in the tank yesterday to get home either. All right, so Brian, Jesse's going to get the audio clip of. Well, apparently he's got it. So listen to this, and you tell me. No one ever had a question number 75's fitness, and I'm always a little leery of this because overweight, out of shape sports writers questioning other people's conditioning, it makes me a little queasy. Doesn't make me want to vomit, but makes me a little queasy. But when you hear this about Sean Ryan, I'm curious what you think.
One of his biggest things that he's got to make sure that he's in charge of is just the conditioning component and making sure that he stays ahead of that. And because when he is fresh, he can be pretty good.
So that was in response to my question about him and what his role might be. I did not see that coming, but when you hear Matt LaFleur say that, my ears perked up like Spock. And I'm guessing yours do too.
Yeah, that's not something that I expected to hear. And as a player, that is not something you want said about you.
No.
Listen, I don't know what guys like, and it was when I was playing too. You don't know what guys do when they're away from the building. When it's the off season, it's really none of your business. It's on that player and what he believes he needs to do to get ready for a training camp or a season. We're what now 4 weeks into training camp? Is that right? We're
fourth week. Yeah, we're in our 4th week. Yep.
Yeah, we're in our 4th week, and that's something that Matt LaFleur said at the podium out loud. That was not a behind closed doors comment. So that makes me a little uneasy. I will say that. That makes me a little uneasy, and I don't know what to say about it. Right? Because I watched him play all his snaps against Cleveland. It never looked like he was gassed or dogging it or moping around. It never seemed that way. And when I watched him last year, it definitely didn't seem that way. So I don't know what's going on at 1265 behind closed doors with him and what he does. And it's really hard for me to comment on because I was never a guy when I was playing to look at another guy and say, he didn't do what he needed to do this offseason because, I wasn't with him. I can't protest to that. There's nothing I can say. But that's not the comment that you want from your head coach. And it's not a good thing. And that's obviously why we're seeing this position battle at right guard shake out the way it is. It has to be because it's not play on the field. I watched him again, like I said, this Browns game. He looks like the same guy that I watched last season. So it's not performance. So it's something else, and that's clearly in the conditioning or whatever it may be portion of his work. People think that we only get graded on our play, which we do. But there's other components that go into the way coaches select guys, how they choose one guy over another. It's work ethic, it's habits, it's what they do in the weight room. It's from all the different voices around the building besides just your play on the field. If the play on the field is equal, right? If Jordan Morgan and Sean Ryan are performing equally at the right guard position in camp, which I don't know if it is or not, but because I'm not watching the film and I'm not in the meeting rooms. If that's equal, then there's other factors that then get brought in to select who is going to be the guy. And clearly, one of those other factors right now is what Matt LaFleur said, the conditioning part of Sean Ryan. And is he able to sustain that throughout a practice or throughout a game? That is a question. And to me, that as a player, if I ever had Matt LaFleur, if I had Mike McCarthy, if I had Campy or whoever say that about me, that would bother me.
You'd be insulted.
That means that that's very, because to them, I didn't do what I needed to do to get myself ready for a football season. And that cut me deep. I'll be honest with you. It would cut me deep and it would hurt. And it would be a big look internally about what I need to do and what I need to be doing to change that view of me to a coaching staff. So that caught me off guard. It really, it shocks me, to be honest.
Yeah, you know what, Blue, what I was thinking, it's insulting whenever someone questions your work ethic and conditioning. That's what that is. We were wondering, you mentioned consistency and anything else. It's literally the exact opposite of the conversation we had about Rasheed Walker. Because the best thing you can say is, I trust this guy. This is probably one of the worst things. And I'm not going to sit here and overblow this and anything else, because Sean Ryan's a good football player. We've seen it. But we were questioning last week. They wanted him to be the right guard. They put him in. They kept working. And, his first year, it was a redshirt year. And then last year, Platoon City. And is that because they don't trust him to be consistent? And is that because he's not in the condition that they hope or need him to be? That's what I took from that conversation. And I don't think there's, again, we're not in the building, so I'm not going to get after him. I'm just going to go off of what they said. And what they said is one of the, the worst thing anybody could say about a football player is he's soft. And you could take that both ways. I don't think we're far off with this. And if I'm Sean Ryan, this is a wake-up call to me. Like, I'm not giving these guys the consistency that they need in order to put me in there, because all last week we were questioning when Jordan Morgan got injured, and it was all right. And then you tweeted something during the game that I thought was really interesting, and you're moving him around like we're already planning on him being our sixth guy. Well, why wouldn't you want him being the fifth guy? That was the question I had, and I think you did too.
Yeah. And again, and you're saying, like, I'm not speaking to something about a guy's conditioning when I'm not in the building. I'm not working with him every day. I'm not in the O-line room with him every day. I'm not spending all this time with him to see what he's doing to get ready, or I'm not even on the field with him to see how he's operating, right? Like, when you played next to guys, you can tell if they were gassed, if they were, you know, like whatever it may be. When you played next to someone or in a huddle with them, you could tell, like, hey, this guy's going to need a couple weeks to get up to speed. He wasn't doing what he needed to do. But, like, you never go to the guy. Like, I never saw a time in my professional career that someone went up to another player and said, dude, you're out of shape. You didn't do a single thing you needed to do this whole offseason. This is a bad, like, I never saw that. And clearly maybe coaches had those conversations with guys. I was never aware that those conversations had, but maybe they did. But this was a public thing, right? Like, LaFleur said it. And
yes,
I know Matt may say later down the road, like, that's not what I meant, or that's okay. But, like, it got said, so now it's able to be talked about, and there's questions to it. And I'm with Tausch, like, yeah, you don't want to be called soft. And I think the next thing is you don't want to be called, like, he's out of shape and not conditioned to do his job.
Not working, yep.
And those are the two things that, especially as offensive linemen, because we are out there every single play. Like, we don't get to come off and only take 40 snaps a game. We're taking every snap. And if you can't sustain your level of play because of your conditioning throughout an entire game, 60, 70, 80 plays, whatever it may be, you're not going to be, the big word that we talked about, Rasheed Walker, trusted to go out there. And to me, that is the big red flag to me. And, like, I've watched him play. Like, that's the thing. Like, I watched him play last year. I watched this preseason game. I think we're going to see a lot of him, obviously, in preseason too. I think he's playing well, and I think he's a good player. That's the part that is like, I'm having a hard time piecing everything together right now, because, like, I watch his play on the field, and I like it, and I like his mentality on the field. He seems like he brings an attitude, and when I watched him play last year and watched him in this preseason game, he didn't seem like tired or dogging it, or he took a play off. Like, it didn't seem like that. So clearly there's something going on that we're not privy to that's making Matt LaFleur say something of that nature. Because, like, Jason, you've been covering Matt for a while now. I played for Matt. He's not someone to come out and say something like that on a player, right? Like, that's not something he normally does. Normally that's a behind closed doors type meeting.
Yeah,
that's not something that gets said publicly.
Brian, it reminded me of the time when Mike McCarthy basically said Eddie Lacy was fat and regretted it because that stuck with Eddie thereafter. So while I always appreciate honesty from coaches and players, this was an instance when he said it, I was like, you don't want to, even if it's true, saying it publicly is a pretty harsh rebuke of a player to do it. Yeah. And now we all heard you say it.
Yeah. And, like, listen, the thing that I hope, and maybe LaFleur did it for a motivational thing, which, hey, I'm good with coaches trying to get that light a fire.
Privately,
like, I'm good with that. But that's a private thing, right? And what I'm hoping that doesn't come from this is Sean Ryan's confidence tanks as a player, right? Like, he goes the opposite way with it, because you watch his performance on the field, at least in games. Again, I'm not at practice. I don't see how he's doing. I don't watch the tape. I don't know how that's going in practice, but in games I watch a guy that performs well. So I hope this doesn't have an opposite effect on him, that starts to be impacted and he loses confidence and he loses his mentality as a player. But it could also go away that now he's going way too hard. He's overdoing things. He's overthinking things. And that also impacts your play. Because there is one thing that I know as an offensive lineman, and Tausch knows this too, you got to find a way to conserve energy within a game. There's a way you have to, yes, you go hard every play, but there's ways to manage your energy levels throughout a game. And that could be technique. That could be how you do a pass blocking play. If you can end it real quick by a jump set, get your hand on a guy's, lock someone up, and the fight's over really quick, that conserves energy. So there's ways to do it within a game. So I hope he doesn't now go into this next preseason game and go a million mile an hour every play, and then kind of starts making mistakes that he wouldn't have in the past. So I'm just hoping this doesn't impact him in a negative way.
So, Blue, before we let you go, Jason and I had a very nice discussion on swing tackles last week. He seems to think Dillard played pretty well and maybe is going to grab that spot. What did you see when you watched the film?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he played fine. Again, like Homer keeps saying, it was against a JV team. Yes, the Browns' defensive line was not overly impressive by any stretch of the imagination. They had none of their guys. So it is hard for me to judge him off of that. But the reps he did take, yeah, I thought he played fine. I didn't think there was any issues with it. I thought he was moving well. I thought he looked smooth. I thought he looked quick out of his sets. He looked powerful. So, yeah, that to me is a positive thing. Now, I think what I would want to see, which I won't be able to see, and Jason, you're not going out to Denver to watch it, are you? Or
I am not. No, I'll be right there.
What I would like to see is how the joint practice goes.
Yeah.
Because he's going to take reps against their ones at some point in time. And then I would love to see the joint practice against Baltimore when he's going against sometimes their ones as well. So, those are the reps that you want to see. I understand that you're not always going to go against the ones in preseason. I get it. And you have to make evaluations off of guys off of those reps. But these joint practice reps are going to be important for him and how he does against starters and good on good type competition in practice. But I agree. He did have a good first preseason one, for sure.
I look forward to you coming here on August 22nd. That is when the Ravens have their joint practice with the Packers. We have an extra bedroom. We'd love to have you. You and I can go to practice together, watch the whole thing, break down Andre Dillard, and have some tackle talk of our own. Bryan, you're the best. We appreciate you every week coming on here and making us smarter. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for staying awake, too.
Thanks, guys. Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you. All right, guys. Have a good one.
That is the great Bryan Bulaga for joining us as he does every Wednesday. Tausch, you're at practice. Does that mean that you are under not only the coverage of the parking garage, but also under the roof of American Family Insurance?
Well, you know that we are. And you know what's great about American Family Insurance? Dream Drive. It is back. Come on down to Lambeau Field. Kick off another year of big smiles in less than a mile. Started July 22nd. We got a couple of weeks left. Jason mentioned that joint practice. Little Packer fans can ride between Lambeau and training camp with their own bike or on one from the American Family Insurance fleet right alongside your favorite coaches and players from the pack. American Family Insurance continues to support this heartwarming event, mobilizing the community to realize their dreams as they ride safe and protected. Join American Family Insurance for another historic year as we keep the tradition moving. Grab your wheels and let's ride Green Bay. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly.
We'll kick off the 10 o'clock hour.
This is a record.
Yeah, but Bryan gets special
this isn't a
dispensation.
record. No, this isn't a record.
We'll
It's
debate
close.
whether it's a record in 2 minutes. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Willie and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
I was stuffed up. It was almost like someone put a clothespin over my nose. As an athlete, it did affect my performance. And as I got older, the congestion and poor sleep really took their toll.
Mike's a lifetime athlete. After hearing about Advent, he felt he could finally find a solution to his breathing triangle problems.
With my congestion, the kind of sleep I was getting wasn't allowing me to function the way I wanted to.
When your nose isn't working like it should be, it's going to negatively affect your sleep. And then you really can't be at your best at anything that you're doing.
It's been about 5 years since coming to Advent, and what Balloon Sinuplasty did for my quality of life, that step I took was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Balloon Sinuplasty can help solve your breathing triangle problems, which will help you sleep better, and that's going to help you live a better quality of life.
Unlock your potential. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Discover the difference at findhigherlove.com/CBD. Higher Love Cannabis Company is the only cultivator in the UP offering organic, clean, green certified products. That means quality you can trust every time. With 7 locations across the UP, including Menominee, Norway, and Ironwood, finding your Higher Love is easier than ever before. And for our friends in Green Bay, Higher Love is less than an hour away. Kindness starts with you. Experience Higher Love today. Visit findhigherlove.com/CBD and follow them on social media at Find Higher Love.
One call, that's all. It's not just a slogan, but a way of life at Gruber Law Offices. If you've been injured, call our team today. We've represented tens of thousands of injured Wisconsinites for well over 30 years. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from KBN. Tune in to Kyle Bruston Nortman every day from 2 to 5, WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
The 10 o'clock hour, sooner or later, begins now. So, Tausch, just briefly, so we can get somewhat back toward being on the clock. Where does Sean Ryan go from here? Because if Matt LaFleur says this publicly, and he also says what a good football player he is when he's, conditioned, and what a difference he can make. And the fact that they rotated him last year now makes a lot more sense. Where does he go from here after our conversation with Bryan?
He works. I think that it should be a wake-up call to him. And I think not grabbing hold of that right guard spot, which everybody thought he was going to, was a wake-up call too. Because, this isn't your rookie year and, let him develop and grow. This is his time. So he's now in a position where I think he's viewed as kind of that sixth guy, which is not a bad place to be. Mm-hmm. But I would just guess that when he sees and hears those comments, he's heard this before. And I think it's the lack of consistency. And I think they look at it from, is it a lack of consistency because you're not able to do it on a consistent basis because you haven't put yourself in that position? That was abundantly clear by Matt's comments the other day. So, mm-hmm. This is not a case where you kind of cower down. And I always look at it, one of the great resilience stories is Scotty Wells, because he had cut and he should not have been cut. And he was pissed and he was angry. And the easy thing to do when you're pissed and when you're angry is just say, the hell with it. I'm getting out of here. And he had opportunities to leave.
He did.
But he wisely took emotion out of it and said, I know I'm better than these guys. I know that this was, short-sighted by them, and I've put all this work in, know the system, know the coaches. I'm going to stay here, even though it just, makes me miserable sitting in here as a practice squad player. And you know what? Middle of that season, he's playing, and he ends up having a great NFL career. a lot of it in Green Bay because he just said, I'm going to get back to it, man. You can sit and pout. You know what? My old high school basketball coach, when he took my jersey away as a sophomore on a state championship team, when you come back, it's not, hey, nobody feels sorry for you. You got to earn every opportunity you get. And sometimes you feel like you got slighted. You're going to end up punishing yourself by not just figuring things out. So sometimes it is the best case to go and get a new environment and kind of change that scenery up. But in this case, I think Sean Ryan's a good football player. We've seen it. But you got to do it consistently, and you have to do it so the coaches believe and trust you. Now, if I'm a sixth man all year as Sean Ryan, then you start wondering, okay, am I going to get a look from these coaches? Because perception becomes reality. And the perception now, whether he likes it or not, is going to be what Matt LaFleur said until he gets out there and plays really good football for a long period of time. Then it's, hey, he's a really good, solid player. And like TJ Lang had a story. Nobody talks about that now. They talk about what a great player he was and how he finishes, all those things. Narratives can change very quickly just by being a good player.
Yeah, and to be honest, you always say the league comes at you fast. Eddie Lacy never recovered really from McCarthy saying that. That was after he'd had the back-to-back 1,100-yard seasons. And, you know, not that long after that, he was out of the league. So how Sean Ryan handles this will be fascinating to see. All right, we're going to try and get back on the clock here. Want to remind you that when it comes to making the switch to a bank, I know, I get it. It's a pain. You got to change all your auto pays and your direct deposits and whatever else. But it's worth it if you make the switch to Associated Bank. Not only do you get Packers checking with your Packers debit MasterCard and 10% off the Packers Pro Shop, you also get early pay where you get your money up to 2 days early with direct deposit from your employer. But most importantly, you get the best customer service in the industry. I've experienced it for myself many, many times. So go to AssociatedBank.com to find out more. More with Tausch live from high above the grass fields at Badgers football practice. Stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and sponsored by American Family Insurance. Even when you think you know what's going on, you can never be too sure.
I'm comfortable in saying this. This was the biggest waste of a season in Wisconsin sports history. This is worse than Ray Rhodes.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
But without Giannis, I have a hard time saying that.
Well, then give me a comparable. What was worse? Give me a worse season.
Chewy, that's easy. That's so easy.
What?
2011 Packers.
Mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at Tito'sVodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Neitzel. I've spent a while telling you about mentality because it works. Not just for me, though. Take it from fellow mentality user Jason. He's got a new lease on life thanks to mentality.
Process was easy. It really, truly was. And the individuals that work at mentality, very helpful, very respectful. It was an easy in, easy out. You go in a week after, they give you the results right away. And once you find that you're able to do it, just that thought, the energy already picked up a little bit. Most of it could have been mentally wise, but knowing that, hey, I get to start this, it was incredible.
Learn more today at LoTUSA.com.
An epic Brewers homestand kicks off August 9th, featuring a division duel against the Reds. First place battles with the Dodgers and Guardians, plus 3 giveaway games. Find the game for you at brewers.com/tickets.
Grab a Coke and grab some cash with the Coca-Cola Summer Cash Grab, only from Quick Trip. Play daily in your Quick Rewards app for a chance to win up to $250,000. Earn extra chances to enter by purchasing any qualified Coke, Monster Energy, Powerade, Body Armor, Smart Water, or Core Power Elite products with Quick Rewards. Summer just got a whole lot cooler with Quick Trip and Coca-Cola. No purchase necessary. See quicktrip.com/sweepstakes for details.
This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. You hear me talk all the time about Bank 5-9 and their mission to make lives better. That mission extends beyond their customers and communities to their employees. Bank 5-9 was just honored again by Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel as a top workplace. That makes 15 years in a row. They were named the #1 mid-sized employer in the region and earned special recognition for the company's overall direction. Want to learn more about working with my friends at Bank 5-9? Visit bank59.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer, member FDIC.
Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Check out the newest Lady Jane's in Oak Creek on Howell Ave, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week, even Sundays. Ask for Haley. I will make you look and feel great. Take advantage of our grand opening special. Haircuts are just $20. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Ave, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week, even Sundays. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Stay cool and choose from over 40 in-stock ceiling fans for under $100, plus an 11% rebate at Menards. We carry the largest selection of in-stock Hunter ceiling fans, available in a variety of designs, finishes, and features. Create the perfect look and lighting for any room with a new Hunter ceiling fan. Visit Menards.com and view our entire selection of Hunter ceiling fans, plus the weekly flyer and other great deals going on now.
Save big money at Menards.
What is dedication?
People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike and you didn't? I just created an environment where they taught themselves and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Recovering from our lengthy conversation with Bryan Bulaga, which again, I understand, Jesse, that there are rules of radio, but Bryan's worth it. And we did, I think, surprise him with the conditioning thing being made public. I think he made a really good point about that being, generally speaking, a private conversation, not necessarily one that comes up publicly.
Hey, Jesse, quick question for you. I know Jason didn't watch The Office. Great show. One of the great shows. I think one of the last great sitcoms. You did watch The Office, correct?
I'm not as big a fan of it as many others are, but I have seen it, yes.
So we have an interesting little thing happen. And I just remember this from Dwight Schrute. LePay and I just got shrooted up here on the parking structure. So Dwight Schrute and who's the worst at Andy Bernard. We're both.
Is that Ed Helms?
Ed Helms. Oh my God.
That's our Super Bowl preview.
So we're standing here minding our own business. It's a big parking garage. So there's, it's getting busier because it's obviously 10:30. There's still 5-6 spots. We're standing here. And there was an episode where I think Dwight and Bernard were like vying for they were getting engaged, and Dwight was kind of getting after his fiance. It was a whole deal. They were going to fight. Well, it turns out he puts a note up on the parking spot, and old boy comes sidling in with one of those little baby hybrids and pins him up against the fence. Well, that happened to me very closely with a minivan. I'm standing here, and again, it's getting tight. There's not as many spots as there was in the beginning, but we're sitting here minding our business, watching practice, and I hear this sidling come up, and all of a sudden I turn and look, and I about blew my knee out on the back of this minivan, on the front of this minivan, and then the guy's like, "Hey, can you move a little bit?" And I'm like, "Well, it is a parking structure, but at that point, there were still like 20 spots right on the other side. And he sidles up and tries to jam me into the concrete. And then LePay, who's a lot nicer than I am, he kind of sees it coming and he sidled out of the way. I was kind of like, come on, bro. There's other spots you could park at.
What does sidling? You've used sidling like 6 times in this story.
Because it's
what do you mean by that?
It's a smooth, quiet, like I couldn't hear because it's a hybrid car. So you don't hear the engine. It's not like a big old glass pack or a muffler. It's quiet. And I'm sitting here and it's like
but
all
he
of a sudden
sidled you up against the concrete.
So it's like it snuck up on you.
It snuck up and I kind of felt it up against my calf.
So when he hit you?
Well, he didn't hit me, but when I
then
stepped
how did
back,
you feel it?
When I stepped backwards, I hit the car. And then he had parked it. And then I think he was like, I need to slide it up or I'm going to get hit. Can you move? And I'm like, well, I don't have a choice. This is a parking garage. But it just reminded me of The Office. And we about just got taken out up here watching practice. So,
well, if that had happened, you could have called Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. David and his team are there if you've been seriously injured or been sidled by a minivan in the parking structure.
I just sidled myself there too.
414.
Should I send a picture of the plates out?
No,
let's not do that.
Well, if I wanted to use David
Social
Gruber, that would
number.
be a good idea for me to do.
414-276-6666, 414-276-6666. That's the number Tausch would call if you'd like to bring some sort of litigation against this minivan driver from Illinois. More likely, though, you need to make the call if you have been seriously injured as opposed to sidled, the way Tausch says. Go to the website to find out more about the firm. It's gruber-law.com. That's gruber-law.com. Apparently, Matt LaFleur's vomit quote was making the rounds yesterday across national radio. We will hear how that was received by our buddy Evan Cohen. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch continues next on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
Solving your breathing triangle problem can lead to better sleep and a better quality of life. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
And now for the Pella Play-by-Play, I'm Jeff Levering alongside Gina Della from Pella.
Thanks, Jeff. How do you say welcome?
With a new entry door from Pella.
Say it with color.
Like baseball bat oak or foul pole yellow?
Say it with class.
Like following players' unwritten baseball rules.
With clarity.
Like a no-doubter shot off the scoreboard.
And with this great deal, 0% interest for up to 60 months with no money down and equal payments.
That's the ball game. A Pella walk-off.
Schedule your free in-home consultation at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See 31-2024.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Aaron Goldhammer.
I'll tell you two things, though, that really impressed me. They had a holding penalty, like, right off the bat. And I was like, uh-oh. I'm interested to see how he responds to this, because it's a little bit of adversity. And when you're an NFL quarterback, sometimes you have to deal with 2nd and 17. And Caleb Williams did. And I thought that was impressive. I thought he also, more so than no-look passes and comparisons to Patrick Mahomes, I thought the ball where he hit DJ Moore on 3rd and 12 to move the chains was a great throw. And I thought the one running to his right, those plays are world-class quarterback plays. So I think it just goes to show all Bears fans, I don't know that there are any guarantees about this guy being your first franchise quarterback since Sid Luckman. But I think what we all knew was there in terms of raw talent is actually playing out at the NFL level. It was a great start. He did nothing to slow down the hype train.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
For love of the game.
But there's nothing like being selected to the Olympic team.
And love of their country.
Championship of that level, gold medal, means more.
Tune into Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Inside stories from Buck stars on the agony and triumph of competing to win it all at the Olympics. It's Behind the Bucks, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and streaming wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Missed any of the show? Find us on Wisconsin On Demand wherever you get your podcasts. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
For you, go see the world 'cause it's all so brand new. Don't close your eyes 'cause your future's ready to shine. It's just a matter of time before we learn how to fly. Welcome to the rhythm of the night. There's something in the air you can't deny. It's been fun, but now I've got to go.
All right, I'm really eager. I did not hear these things, Jesse. Quite frankly, the attention that the "I want to vomit" quote received. I had a few people getting after me. How's it feel that Matt LaFleur laughing at you? Well, first of all, I thought he was laughing with me. And secondly, he didn't take the question the way it was intended. But we're good. Again, great.
Why are you always trying to stir stuff up, Jason?
Amen to that. We're all in this sucker together, Matt.
We're all in this sucker together, that's for sure.
Indeed we are. But, Jesse, I want to hear what Evan Cohen, our good friend and teammate and Mr. ESPN Radio nationally, had to say. So he reference he referenced this on multiple shows. Is that what occurred here?
Yeah, it came up on Sportsmanlike. The part that I want to play for you was when he was filling in for Greeny, who had a day off yesterday. So Evan was filling in, hosting Greeny. He's kind of the number one guy off the bench for that show many days. And you may be familiar with producer Hembo, is also an active contributor to that program.
Indeed, much like you are.
We will get to part two in a moment when they actually have a question about the wide receiver commentary. But first, here is simply what happened when they were referencing the audio of Matt LaFleur.
That was the voice of Matt LaFleur being asked the question by Jason Wilde of ESPN Wisconsin, Wilde and Tausch. So
it's not pronounced wild?
No.
Oh, go on. I'm going to keep that in the back of my brain now.
That's your reaction to all of that?
I mean, I liked the LaFleur sound was great, but I already knew all that stuff that he said. I didn't know that man's name was pronounced Wilde.
Yeah, what?
Isn't it spelled W-I-L-D-E?
Yeah, but why would you think that's wild if there's an E at the end?
Because, I mean, the silent E is very prevalent in the English language.
So, okay.
Like if someone's name was Earl with an E at the end, you wouldn't call him Early. I mean, you might call Earl Early, but you wouldn't call him Early.
But there would be a Y for that, no?
Not necessarily.
No, his name is Wilde.
Good to know.
And Wilde and Tausch.
I knew Tausch.
Okay, sounds like it. Anyway.
You love that LaFleur sound, don't
you?
Wow.
There you go. First off, thank you, Evan. And thank you, Hembo. I have to agree. People will ask all the time why wild, because as Hembo so eloquently put it, the E being silent is pretty dominant in the English language. So I get it.
So if you are of English descent, like Oscar Wilde, for example, Olivia Wilde, it is the silent E. If you are of German descent, which is what I am in part, sehr gut, ja. Germans obviously pronounce the not silent E because it's not silent for them. So it's Wildy. So that's for anybody who gives a damn about this, which I can't think there's many people. So
Wildy and Tosh.
It has, between the two of us, we have gotten, wasn't it Sarah Spain who got
Is it
Tausch's
Touch?
name?
It's
There it
Wildy
is.
and Touch, isn't it?
Touchy. Indeed. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm glad that Hembo now is on the same page as Evan with my last
I like you
name.
being referred to as that man.
That man. There goes that man.
Name.
Yeah, indeed. I'm the man. But I would like to hear what, from a actual content perspective, as opposed to just my last name perspective, what this led to.
Yeah, here's part 2.
What is the definition of a number one receiver? When we're asking the question of the Green Bay Packers, just as an example here, and the question is about whether or not, and it's not just Jason's question, but I mean, Jason was the one who asked it, they have a number one receiver. So Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, like they have guys that would be in the mix for the top receiver on a team. Does a number one receiver have to be a wide receiver? Who's Patrick Mahomes' number one receiver?
Tight end.
Okay. Tom Brady's number one receiver, I would think, the person that he was at his best with, is a debate between Rob Gronkowski, tight end, and Julian Edelman, who was a wide receiver, obviously. But I don't know that people would say he was a number one receiver. Yet I think he was as valuable at that position as literally any player in the league, any player at the time he was in the league, because he made the best player in the sport even better.
What do you think?
Great. I would love to discuss that with him tomorrow when he's scheduled to appear, because I agree with him when it comes to who the number one receiver is. It's not as simple as, well, who has the most catches or who has the most yards. More often than not, that's exactly who it is. And if it's a tight end, that's fine. But with a group like this, Tausch, this was the point that we were making about Romeo Doubs. Who's the guy you're going to on third down and who's the guy you're going to the red zone? That's Romeo Doubs. And to me, that makes him, in those crucial situations, more of a number one receiver than anybody else.
Yeah, it comes down to the trust factor and who you going to when the money's on the table, because it doesn't always necessarily have to be your best player. It usually is.
Right.
But Gronk would be Tom Brady's number one of all. And if he's forgetting Randy Moss, but Julian Edelman was the guy, because defenses would take Gronk away. That's the other tricky part to this whole conversation. But it is interesting to say, well, who is their number one? You know, there's always debate as far as where, he has 70 catches. He had 62, but he had 23 on third down. I would think there's a good chance that this season will go and we'll have it narrowed down to 2 guys as far as who that number one's going to be. But I don't think you're going to ever get to the point, well, there's 4 or 5 guys that could be your number one. I don't think it'll be that varied.
All right, we're going to play some trivia and let Tausch do a little yucking it up with his parking garage friends and maybe chase down the driver of that minivan. Jesse, can we really play trivia when it's Wednesday and it's Wisconsin Geography Wednesday without Tausch? Are we really going to do that?
We're going to do it. Old T makes his own bet. If he wants to go to practice and
Definitely
skip
makes
out
his
on
own rules.
Wisconsin Geography Wednesday, so be it. The rest of us aren't going to miss out on the fun, so we're still playing.
All right. Well, we will take caller 13 in honor of Dontavian Wicks, the Packers' number one wide receiver. Caller 13, 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. Caller 13 for Wilde and Tausch Trivia. And it is, again, because it's Wednesday, it is Wisconsin Geography Wednesday, so be sure to be ready with your geography knowledge. Want to remind you that the next edition of Behind the Bucks is here on the Bucks Plus Audio Network, presented by Gallagher. Behind the Bucks Going for Gold features Bucks stars sharing their experiences from competing on the world's largest stage, the Olympics. From battling against their Bucks teammates to teaming up with fierce rivals, all for the glory of a gold medal, Behind the Bucks offers unique access and deep storytelling for Bucks fans unlike ever before. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. You can find it on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get your podcast. Trivia is next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
On air, online, and on demand. Get all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin content anywhere you get your podcast for free. The new Wisconsin On Demand. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you. Alex Strofe is Mr. Irrelevant.
If you're paying him, the expectations you should be one of the 5 or 10 best quarterbacks in the league all year long.
Tune into ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12:30 for Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strofe.
So the national expectation is this guy is the real deal. And I believe that. But how real of a deal is he?
Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strofe every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12:30 on ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Faith and Bigora, lads and lassies. Irish Fest is almost here. One of the great Milwaukee summer festivals. And we'd like to send you there. Compliments of Discount Liquor. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Purchase any 1 18-pack of Miller Lite, Draft, or 64, or Coors Light, and receive 1 free ticket to Irish Fest. But don't delay. Tickets go quickly, and I know you don't want to miss all the great Irish food and beverages. Visit us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee, and on Barstow and Main in downtown Waukesha. Discount Liquor, voted best liquor store in Milwaukee again. See us this week for your free Irish Fest ticket.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Check out all of our weekly specials at discountliquorinc.com.
The hottest deals of the summer are going on now, exclusively at the Kunis Auto Group's Dog Days of Summer sales event. Get sizzling savings on your next vehicle from the automotive pros at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealership. America's best-selling cars, trucks, and SUVs from both Buick and GMC, all marked down with incredible August Dog Days of Summer discounts and savings. We're also offering incredible Dog Days of Summer discounts on our entire inventory of select pre-owned vehicles. Choose from over 1,500 vehicles on lot and online. While online, check out dozens of August service specials on everything from brakes, tires to oil changes. Plus in August, simply stop in and register to win a $250 monthly cash prize. Plus chances to win a $10,000 monthly grand prize with absolutely no purchase necessary. All at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealerships in both Oak Creek and Greenfield. It's the Kunis Auto Group's August Dog Days of Summer sales event going on now. For additional event info, go to shopkunis.com.
Discover the difference at findhigherlove.com/CBD. Higher Love Cannabis Company is the only cultivator in the UP offering organic, clean, green certified products. That means quality you can trust every time. With 7 locations across the UP, including Menominee, Norway, and Ironwood, finding your Higher Love is easier than ever before. And for our friends in Green Bay, Higher Love is less than an hour away. Kindness starts with you. Experience Higher Love today. Visit findhigherlove.com/CBD and follow them on social media at Find Higher Love.
The biggest names in the basketball world.
Dame Dollar Lillard.
having fun and honest conversations.
He puts it in the shoe, right, and sets the tone for brothers and sisters and family.
Every week, Thanasis Adetokounmpo sits down with special guests on The Analysis Show, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Curbless ready-to-drink cocktails.
Fantastic.
Find The Analysis Show on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube by searching The Analysis Show. Wilde and Tausch is presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka produced in Austin, Texas, and naturally gluten-free. Tito's Handmade Vodka.
Time to play some trivia. Let's welcome in our contestants. It is Tim in Madison. Tim, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Tausch is not here, so you will not be getting any help on Wisconsin Geography Wednesday. Not that he's all that helpful anyway. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Question number 1 is this. Which of these Wisconsin cities is the home of the Dodge County Fair, taking place today through Sunday? Is it Beaver Dam, Rhinelander, or Sun Fair?
I know Sun Prairie is in Dane County. You said, what were the other two? Beaver Dam
and Rhinelander.
I'll say Beaver Dam.
That's smart for you to do. Beaver Dam is correct. All right, question 2, Tim, is this. Sharing its name with a decorated Olympian, which of these northern Wisconsin cities is located just north of the Eagle River? Let me try that again since I'm stumbling all over this. Sharing its name with the last name of a decorated Olympian, which of these northern Wisconsin cities is located just north of Eagle River? Is it Ledecky, Wisconsin, Phelps, Wisconsin, or Owens, Wisconsin?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is.
Yeah, the problem is I don't know where Eagle River is.
Yeah, it's north.
Let's say Owens, Wisconsin.
Now, Jesse, is there a Ledecky, Wisconsin?
To my knowledge, there is not a Ledecky, Wisconsin, nor an Owens, Wisconsin.
I believe there's an Owen, Wisconsin.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, Owen Withy, if I recall correctly. I know there's a Weston, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Weston Hodquist. But correct answer, Phelps. Michael Phelps. Is it named for Michael Phelps?
It is not.
Must be a new town.
It is not. Unless they want to establish and
rebrand, yeah.
Yeah, they could do that.
All right, Tim, let's bounce back on question 3. Longitudinally, which of these Wisconsin cities is located farthest west? Farthest west. And the good news for you is Eagle River is not one of the options. Is it Montello, Marshfield, or Markesan?
Sorry, what was the last one?
Markesan. Montello, Marshfield, or Markesan?
Let's say Montello.
You can say that, but you'd be wrong. Jesse, what's the correct answer there?
Marshfield is the furthest to the west.
Indeed it is.
Longitudinally speaking.
That's in Tausch's old neck of the woods.
Yeah, and if Tausch was on the show, he'd be like, oh, Marshfield, top right.
But he's not, so he won't be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tim, you only got one right. You put an end to any hopes of a perfect week this week, although was that already over?
Yeah, that was over yesterday, so no pressure for Tim.
So no fault on you.
Do it.
And he's had all the entries and hasn't won in the last few weeks, so maybe by only getting one of those questions right, he'll have a better chance. Change his luck up a little bit.
Maybe. All right, Tim, good luck. You got 2 entries into the drawing on Friday. We appreciate you playing. Thanks.
Hey, thank you.
That is Wildy and Tausch trivia. All right, so here's what we're going to do as we work to get Old T back. So is practice ending for the Badgers?
He said it would go till about 11 was what he said before the show got started. Now, given the state of things in the parking garage that he's hanging out at, I don't know if it's a hard deadline of 11 o'clock, a soft deadline of 11 o'clock, but he'll be bouncing around, I'm sure. So I think he'll be back to join us for the start of the 11 o'clock hour here in a couple minutes.
Well, we'll all find out together because, as you may have noticed, when Tausch isn't here, we end the hour on time. We will kick off.
No.
It happened. It did. That now, again, the Bryan Bulaga special exception is completely different. That's just, we don't care. We love having Bryan. We keep him as long as we can. But the other random, I almost got sidled by a minivan conversations that tend to happen. That's a little bit different. So we will see if Old T joins us again for the 11 o'clock hour. That will begin with or without him in 2 minutes. So stick around. It's Wildy and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wildy and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher, and summer is here. But if you want your parking lots and asphalt to be ready for winter, you have to remember the 3 R's from Johnson & Sons Paving. Reseal every 2 to 3 years. Repair when you see signs of cracking or potholes. And replace if there's constant standing water, buckling, or sinking. Don't scare customers or tenants away because of a bad parking lot. Connect with Johnson & Sons today before minor repairs end up being huge headaches. Schedule an appointment at johnsonsonspaving.com.
Sunday. It's racing season at the legendary Great Lakes Dragaway, and our schedule of events is ready. We've still got our yearly holiday weekend races like Labor Day weekend, plus Nitrous Streetcar Brawl, Import Wars, and Night of Fire. You can also book corporate and private events. Take advantage of our season-long passes and even schedule a time to take your car down the legendary quarter mile. Go to GreatLakesDragaway.com for pricing and info. Great Lakes Dragaway, just a burnout west of I-94 on County KR. Be there.
Finding the special healthcare resources families need just got easier. Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network helps kids with delays, disabilities, special healthcare needs, and mental health conditions. Call toll-free 877-947-2929. Ask questions. Get answers. Connect today toll-free 877-947-2929. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Finally, warmer weather, green grass, birds chirping. Don't spend your weekend surrounded by all that junk. Get your free, no obligation, same-day estimate from Two Men and a Junk Truck. You'll restore your sanity and reclaim your space when Two Men and a Junk Truck pulls in your driveway. Visit twomenandajuncktruck.com for your free, no obligation estimate today.
Keep what you love, ditch what you don't. Marquette Hall of Famer Tony Smith here. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
O'clock hour of Wildy and Tausch, with Tausch pinned against the concrete by a minivan in the parking garage high above the grass practice field near Camp Randall. Where are you now?
I'm not pinned against the wall. I'm in between two cars.
Between two ferns?
Something like that, yeah.
Is either of them your car?
No.
That seems interesting.
Well, why would I park where I'm going to stand?
Because then you could, like, if you want to lean against your car, you could lean against yours.
Get a
you
snack
could
out of the
set
car.
your coffee on your
I ain't gonna lie to you.
trunk. Like,
that's why I should have had you come out with me and video and done the whole thing, because you could have helped me with that. That's a misstep by old T.
Yeah, it is. You'll get no argument here. All right, Tausch, something happened yesterday. I was not part of this. Cody Krupp of Fox 11 Sports, the Fox affiliate here in Green Bay, spent some time talking to A.J. Dillon yesterday. We had spent some time earlier in the week talking about the back-to-back-to-back short yardage plays on which the Packers could not get a first down. Second, third, fourth down. A.J. Dillon got 3 cracks at it. The blocking was not good. We all agree on that. I think, and I would say this to AJ to his face too, that, there's part of me that thinks when you've got a big back that can bulldoze things, you're expecting him to, even if it's not well blocked, to get a yard. I don't know how the coaches viewed it, but I don't think that is. Do you think that's an unfair criticism by me first?
No, I don't. I don't think that's unfair.
So apparently, I don't know if my critique got back to him, but certainly there were some folks on social media taking screen grabs and what have you, and apparently getting after AJ on social media, which, again, I don't want to tell people and players how to handle that kind of stuff. Everyone's different. I am certainly sensitive. The best thing that ever happened to me was Elon buying Twitter, because it meant that I don't have access to TweetDeck anymore. I don't have a verified account, so I don't get as much attention as I used to get, which is all fine. It's been great for my mental health. But if you're an NFL player, it's kind of like Tausch always tells us about, if you listen to what the fans say, you're going to be sitting with them if you're a coach. I don't know if you ever want to acknowledge that kind of stuff is out there. And he kind of did, even though he claimed he didn't, when he had this conversation with Cody yesterday. I want you to hear this and tell me what you think of what A.J. Dillon had to say to Cody Krupp of Fox 11 in Green Bay.
I graded a 98%. If you know football, you watch the tape, and you don't look at the stats, and you are actually put yourself in the game, somebody else go out there and do more than what I did. That's just a situation, and that's football. And sometimes you have a drive like that where, a block doesn't happen here, block doesn't happen there. I don't know what Twitter said because I don't go on Twitter unless I'm posting something, but I can imagine somebody, there's nowhere you're gonna go there in those certain situations. But in all honesty, man, if you don't live inside my house, your opinion to me is so secondary that I couldn't be bothered with it. But to anybody on Twitter or whatever, you can't do what we're doing. Just enjoy, just watch, and I promise you, everybody in this building is working their ass off to do the best they can.
To everybody on Twitter, you can't do what we're doing, and I graded out at 98%. What'd you think of that?
A really bad look. For someone that has had really no missteps off the field, he's frustrated, and obviously he's heard all of this. He is as active on Twitter as any player. So you can't have it both ways. That's the part of this. Now, how he handled this and approached it, I would not have done. And I don't think if he has to do it again, I think he's too good at this. The PR and everything else, he's really good at it. He has done a great job ingratiating himself into the community and doing all the right stuff. I think he is a really good dude. I've done some stuff with him with Feeding America. I think his family's great. He does all the right stuff. This was not it. First off, you don't ever talk about what you're graded out at, and that doesn't do you any good. And then kind of throwing a little shade at his whole lineman. I didn't love that. It was not his best. I think he's I think he's feeling it a little bit. I think there's a pressure on him. And, I think the way the offseason played out with how, he didn't maybe have the contract offers that he had hoped. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And I think he has to just understand what he did there is not helping him at all. And for someone that is as smart and how he handles himself, this was just a big misstep by him. And it's not a big deal. I don't think this is something that's going to haunt him by any stretch, but it just was a bad day. A bad day, and he didn't handle it the way he handles all of these other situations. And he'll learn from that, and he won't do it again, would be my guess.
I am curious, Tausch, just for you mentioned the offensive line part of it, and I was thinking the same thing. If you're let's go back in time, like Wayne's World, and you're the right tackle. Does this get back to you? And if so, do you say anything to him?
You know what? Does it get back to you? You obviously hear about it because everything that is done and said, and especially when it comes to your position group, that's the case where I don't think you really need to go to him. I think if you're a veteran, you could say, AJ, man, not cool. Like, it doesn't need to be like a scream session or anything else, but it's just understanding how this is a team game. And you don't ever talk about other teammates, especially in a negative light. You could say, we as a group didn't get it done on short yardage. We all need to be better. I obviously need to lower my pads. I got to find a way, even maybe if it's not as clean as it needs to be. Like, and it's just, I think the reason it was surprising is because that's just, he doesn't do that. And that's not how he's approached things in the past. And that just makes me think that I think he's feeling a little bit, and he wants to kind of continue to craft kind of how things are viewed, but that's not how this world works. Like, the stuff's out there. It is what it is. You didn't have a great performance, and it's a myriad of things. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but that's how this thing is judged. And when you try and pin it on other people or do different things, it's not going to be received well by anybody. And I'm guessing when AJ Dillon talks again, he wants the game to just get here and go out and play. And then he's going to handle this a lot differently. He will not approach this the same way he just with his comments from yesterday.
So the narrative around him, and look, I was very much carrying the banner of this because it was noticeable to me that he is slimmer, and yet he's still a big back. He does look fitter, like Matt LaFleur, teasing him about how you can see his abs. He looks like he should be on a calendar. The narrative around him was, I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm ready to go. And that he was answering the bell of the challenge of getting a small contract, not being given a big deal in free agency, not getting as much interest as he wanted to get on the market, and ending up back here. The narrative was extremely positive on him. And so you said he's feeling it. If you're him, just like I asked Bryan about Bo Melton bouncing back from his performance where he dropped 3 passes. Like, Bo, if you juxtapose the two approaches, Bo owned it, right? Like, he called it my first really bad game as a Packer and the worst game I've had in a long time. Like, he just flat out owned it. Now, I'm not saying that A.J. Dillon should take the blame for bad blocking. It's like you said, there's a way to say it that saves you from maybe looking the way this looked. So now what do you expect from him going forward after he vented maybe in the wrong realm? But like, he's got to, if I'm going to ask you, what does Bo Melton got to do? I've got to ask you, what is he going to do with an opportunity, which he's going to get because Josh Jacobs is not playing on Sunday.
Yeah, it's, again, just go play good football. And if you do that, all this other stuff just becomes secondary. And so I think when you're looking at it from his perspective, there's always a ton of competition. Mm-hmm. And everybody understands, like, not every game is going to go smooth. You're not going to have perfect games. Stuff is going to happen. Just roll with it and say, things didn't work out as well as we hoped. We need to pick up that first down there. I can't wait to get back out on the field. You know, we've had a really good camp. All of the stuff that a veteran and a smart guy like AJ will do. Mm-hmm. So the best thing to do, just get back out on the field. This narrative will die after a couple of days, how this goes. But he, I think, does need to put together a good performance, because I think the Packers are going to bring a running back in, or they already signed a guy. This is a position that I think the Packers looked at, and had it not been for some salary cap relief and not having to give a bunch of guaranteed money, they weren't going to bring A.J. Dillon back. So now this is the opportunity. I think he loves it. He loves being a Packer. He's everything that you want in a player, especially off the field. And he can provide he can provide some things that this group needs. Now he has to do it and not worry about all the Twitter and all of the other noise. Just get down to work, go play, and then just kind of keep that focus and actually not focus on any of that other stuff, because that party is right. Now, I don't necessarily know if he believes that that's right, because he uses Twitter as well as anybody, and he uses all of those things. So it's tough to kind of say that you're going to do this but not do that, and that's where the disconnect comes. So just go out and play good football and figure it out.
Practice is underway at Ray Nitschke Field. Carrington Valentine, who'd been sidelined for almost 2 full weeks with a hamstring injury, is doing drills today. They made a couple of moves because they are thin at a couple of positions, running back being one of them. That's why there's a big opportunity here for A.J. Dillon to change the narrative with what he does on Sunday against Denver, and with the joint practice scheduled for Friday. We'll talk a little bit more about what's going on at practice coming up. Tausch, you need to tell us, though, about Johnson & Sons paving.
Oh, I do. And Jesse's ready. Summer's here. But before you know it, you're going to be prepping for winter. Johnson & Sons Paving wants to make sure you're ready by remembering the 3 R's of parking lot and asphalt maintenance. Reseal every 2 to 3 years. Repair when you see signs of cracking or potholes. And replace. If there's constant standing water, warping, buckling, or sinking, don't scare your customers or tenants off with a bad parking lot. Get it fixed. Connect with Johnson & Sons Paving today to fix those minor repairs before they become huge headaches. Visit johnsonsonspaving.com right now to schedule an appointment.
Packers made a couple of personnel moves this morning as well, and they've lost, or they've moved on from, or maybe just temporarily while they need some extra bodies, have said, we'll see you later, to a former Badger. We'll tell you who that is, talk more about that, and where the Packers stand at a few other positions. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio. Even when you think you know what's going on, you can never be too sure.
I will say, if you're driving yourself to the game, can't bring
Come on.
Packers, nonsense, chaos.
18, 19.
No.
If you're a teenager, you could still bring a glove.
License is the way to go.
What if it's vote?
No.
Why can't we compromise?
I'm willing to vote. I don't know how to make it more clear.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, morning 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN, and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tauscher here, and these days I am sleeping better than ever. I am so thankful I met with the great team at Advent to help solve my sleeping problems. The Advent team is so great to work with, and their consultations are very informative. The Advent team listened to my struggles, and rather than forcing a surgery, they helped me find the best solution for a better night's sleep. My family and I are so thankful the solutions from Advent worked. To see how they can help you with snoring, sleep apnea, and nasal breathing problems, go to adventknows.com, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge built his very own distillery and put his life savings into it. Since then, he's won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others. Tito's Handmade Vodka is still made on the same land where he started it, all in Austin, Texas. Distilled from corn and gluten-free. Visit us at Tito'sVodka.com for recipes, videos, and more. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
With 18 unforgettable holes on 250 acres of natural private land, the Bog provides the ultimate golf experience. To book your next tee time, call 262-284-7075 or visit golfthebog.com. Enjoy golf. Enjoy the Bog.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee. Want that mirror finish on your car? You need Z-Gloss by Z-Bart. Z-Gloss is a 3-layer ceramic coating that not only gives your car that mirror finish, it protects it from everything that Mother Nature can throw at it. Visit zbart.com for more information.
Packers preseason underway with a 23-10 victory in Cleveland over the Browns. And yes, Jordan Love did play. And yes, Jordan Love did put points on the board. A 65-yard touchdown pass to Ontavion Wicks in his single series. Matt LaFleur, though, afterwards, happy to see his guys out there.
I think it's always good just not only to obviously go out there and play, but just the preparation that it takes to get ready mentally to go play a game.
It's back to work now for the Pack, who will take on the Broncos in Denver next Sunday night in their second preseason game.
This has been your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee.
College students, are you looking to make your campus living more comfortable, functional, and fashionable this year? Let IKEA Oak Creek help. From innovative storage solutions and furniture to maximize your space, to fashionable bedding and accessories to make it uniquely yours, IKEA is helping make college living truly inspired by you. And now, qualified college students can get 15% off their IKEA purchases. Visit IKEA Oak Creek or check out the Ready for College section on IKEA.com/US to learn more.
Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Check out the newest Lady Jane's in Oak Creek on Howell Ave, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week, even Sundays. Ask for Haley. I will make you look and feel great. Take advantage of our grand opening special. Haircuts are just $20. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Oak Creek on Howell Ave, just south of Putes Road. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week, even Sundays. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Packers making some roster moves this morning. They are shorthanded at running back and at linebacker, so they signed one player at each spot. They add Nate McCrary, who was actually in camp with them, I think, last year, at running back, and Chris Russell at linebacker. The corresponding moves, they released safety Tyler Coyle and former Badgers long snapper Peter Bowden. That's the second time, Tausch, Peter Bowden been released in this camp. Now, last time they said, hey, stick around. We're going to bring you back. We don't know when. So he went home to San Diego and kept working out, and a week later he was back. Is this... you obviously went through all kinds of training camps and 11 years in the league. This has got to be one of those times, though, when, well, we're short at this position, so we got to bring a guy in just to play the position. Now, maybe he does something and he makes our team or something, but more likely he's just a camp body. So we have to release you. But, hey, we'll call you back. Don't call us. We'll call you. Is that just the nature of the business?
It's the tough part of the business, and I think you understand that. Players are really in tune with how this all shakes out, and the tough part is you can't look at it that way. Like Bowden had to come in there and look, I'm going to snap the heck out of it. I'm going to make it really difficult for you to get rid of me. And if there's an incumbent that everybody feels good about, it's going to be tough sledding. But you want to get film, you want to get tape, and you want to get on Goody's list of if something happens, here's our guy. So you always want to take advantage of every opportunity, understanding that's why it's so goofy to me. You got 2-3 kickers on the roster for so long. As roster spots are, especially when you start looking at the injuries and you see a lot of injuries at linebacker this year, it makes it tough. But you understand it, and that's part of the deal. You realize at any moment you could, not be there. So you better make sure every day that you're there, make it count.
I'm going to be there shortly. I'm going to head down to practice a little bit later today because I want to get to a couple of things, and one of them is your pal Dan Orlovsky. This will be something that Packers fans will love. I am curious. I watched the clip. It is. I thought he made a reasonable argument, but he ranked the NFC North receiving cores. Would you like to guess the order, or would you like to give us your order, Tausch? You choose.
Yeah, I think it's a really competitive spot. And, knowing Dan, he knows ball. So, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thanks. Sunny out here in the shed. I think Detroit has got a really good group because you start looking at Laporta. You look at St. Brown, and if Jameson Williams is really good, you have a lot of guys that you feel really good about. So I think you're probably, and then you have the best receiver or the highest paid receiver in the entire league in that division. You got Addison helping out Jettis. So I would put the Bears last in that group, and they have a good group because they added Keenan Allen, and they added their, Odunze,
DJ Moore,
and they got DJ Moore. So, I would guess again. I mean, we look at this the closest. Tell me a division that's got it better at those spots. But I think with Green Bay, and I think Orlovsky's probably going to put Detroit first and Green Bay second, just because you don't necessarily have that high-priced guy, and the tight end spot, I think, is going to be where you don't know what you got. And Detroit, Minnesota, obviously with Hawkinson, and with the Bears, I think it's Cole Kmet. That is where I think the differentiation will be. But I think Orlovsky respects the 5 or 6 guys and knows that the upside of this group is very high. So I think he's going to have them second.
So here are Dan Orlovsky's NFC North receiving core rankings. At number 4, the Detroit Lions. At number 3, the Chicago Bears. At number 2,
I got a hard time. And I think Justin Jefferson is obviously a needle mover, but they just paid Amon St. Brown. They have a 15th pick that is healthy finally and doesn't have all the cloud over him. And I think the best tight end in the division, and who I recommended Max draft last night, is Laporta. They go to him a ton. So the fact that they're 4th in Dan Orlovsky's ranking, and I also took into account he's a former Lion, because I look at biases when I see this. That's very telling to me that that's where he's got those guys ranked.
The Vikings number 2 and the Packers number 1. Does Dan still know ball?
I think, yeah, Dan knows ball. I'm not going to besmirch Dan. The intriguing part of that is it's so subjective.
No
and
doubt.
I'm guessing if you ask the Lions, they'd tell you that they feel good about their group and that they should be 1. And if you're asking Minnesota, they would laugh and say, well, of course, we have the best wide receiver in the league. And the same thing goes. Chicago would say, well, we have DJ, and we have all this young talent, and we have the veteran. So that's the beauty of it. And Green Bay obviously feels really good about where they're at. So I get it. I understand it. And I think it's so tight that even if you're in fourth place on Dan's pool, I still believe he feels like there's a lot of really good players, and that, maybe from Green Bay's side, you're just banking on all of this potential that you hope is going to pay off, because I think Green Bay's receiving core is going to be really good. And it's just a matter of who is going to kind of be that shining, that beacon that everybody's going to be drawn to.
Ooh, love a good beacon. I'm curious. You didn't put the Packers first on your list.
I would not.
We're talking about biases. Why not?
I just need to see more. I think when I'm looking at it, I think Detroit he has emerged as one of the top wideouts in the game in St. Brown, and I was a fan of Jameson Williams. I think he showed up big time when he was healthy, and now he's healthy. So I don't like their quarterback in comparison to what we have.
Mm-hmm.
But in the grand scheme of things, I think Laporte is a heck of a tight end. And I add all those things up. And, if Gibbs is healthy out of the backfield, he is a dynamite threat.
Mm-hmm.
Their skill position group is really good, and their O-line is really good. That's why Detroit was really good last year. This wasn't, just because they have a lot of talent. And that's why I put them ahead. And I put Green Bay second strictly just because I'm not sure about the rest of it. In the tight end spot, who's going to emerge as that? Those are my question marks, and that's why I put them second.
Well, and Dan made it very clear that he was including tight ends, which I think is important. And if you're doing that, the reports are that T.J. Hawkinson not only is not going to be ready for when the season begins, but he may not be ready till November after tearing his ACL. I believe, wasn't that on New Year's Eve against the Packers that he got hurt? So
I don't know that for sure. That's a big blow, obviously, to them. And
yes.
So I just, Minnesota is such a one. I know Addison has done a nice job, but quarterback matters too. Quarterback matters, and McCarthy, you don't know how long he's going to be out. And Sam Darnold has not been successful wherever he's been. He's got an opportunity, but I'll just continue to think he said that seeing ghosts. And that's why these quotes and all this stuff matters. Do you stop seeing ghosts? Do you get an exorcist? I don't know. But when I have a quarterback that says anything about seeing ghosts, I'm super nervous if that quarterback is leading my favorite team. That I do know.
Well, if you're seeing ghosts and you need to call the Ghostbusters, you got to be able to pay the Ghostbusters. And that means maybe you want to go see Fortria so you can make a little extra cash to get your exorcisms done.
Yes, indeed. And you got that big trip out to Brazil. You got all these fun events that you want to get to. You want to go down to games. It costs money. Fortria's got you covered to get you a little bit of that money with some clinical trials that'll fit your time frame. Healthy men, age 18 to 55. Body mass index 18 to 32. One study, 6 nights, $3,290 for your time and participation. Another one, healthy adults ages 18 to 60. BMI of 18 to 32. This one stay, 14 nights, 11 follow-up visits. And oh, baby, $13,006 for your time and participation. Head to FortriaClinicalTrials.com. That's Fortria, Fortrea, clinicaltrials.com.
Whoa, Nelly is next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
On air, online, and on demand. Get all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin content anywhere you get your podcasts for free. The new Wisconsin On Demand. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Derek Jeter for American Family Insurance.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they'll help protect your family's dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, future rocket scientist, we have liftoff, or a budding prima ballerina, you can count on an American Family Insurance agent to help you dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Mom. Meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
And welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Limited time. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Faith and Bigora, lads and lassies. Irish Fest is almost here. One of the great Milwaukee summer festivals. And we'd like to send you there. Compliments of Discount Liquor. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Purchase any one 18-pack of Miller Lite, Draft, or 64, or Coors Light, and receive one free ticket to Irish Fest. But don't delay. Tickets go quickly, and I know you don't want to miss all the great Irish food and beverages. Visit us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee, and on Barstow and Main in downtown Waukesha. Discount Liquor, voted best liquor store in Milwaukee again. See us this week for your free Irish Fest ticket.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Check out all of our weekly specials at discountliquorinc.com.
I'm Ben Jewick with Coakley Brothers and Brothers Interiors. The crew is winning ball games here in Milwaukee and around the country. Our team stands ready to help your organization win across North America. Powered by Coakley Connect, our revolutionary facilities management platform. The Coakley crew supports clients across the country manage their real estate portfolio, offering facility-focused products and services, interior design, construction, new furniture, installation, and move management. We'll help you create and manage interior environments that drive your teams forward. Visit CoakleyBrothers.com and hit a home run.
There's lots to see and do at the Dodge County Fair. Fun for me and you. There's good times in the air. The thrill of the midway, the smell of the food, rides and games and animals too. Entertainment every night. It's gonna make you feel just right.
The Dodge County Fair is 5 days and nights of fun. August 14th through the 18th. The 5 nightly main events starts with the Badger State Tractor Pulls on Wednesday, Tracy Bird on Thursday, Matt Stell on Friday, Grand Funk Railroad on Saturday, and the Demo Derbies on Sunday. Get your season tickets in advance for $35 at the fair office. Fox Brothers Piggly Wiggly and Beaver Dam Food Pride, Leroy Meats, most Dodge County banks, and at DodgeCountyFairgrounds.com.
So come on, everyone, to the Dodge County Fair.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Time for Whoa Nelly, but before that, time for Tausch to tell us of his love of the Blue Mountains.
Oh, Coors Light's brewed with that 3-step cold process, cold lager, cold filtered, and it's cold packaged, so it's made to chill. And I'm bummed that I'm not heading out to Golden, Colorado, and watch the Pack inner squad versus Denver and everything else. But it is born in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado in 1978. Coors Light's refreshing. It's crisp. It's only 102 calories. That's why it is Coors Light in my hand when I need a moment to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. I bet somebody from the organization's going out to Golden, checking out where all the goodness is made right down there in Golden, right up the street from Denver.
Apparently they like green and gold.
Green and golden. Time now for Whoa Nelly.
Is good. The guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa, Nelly!
On Wilde and Tausch.
So an interesting article from ESPN's Dan Graziano. While we're having Dans who are providing interesting NFL commentary. Over at ESPNWisconsin.com, you can read it with an ESPN Plus subscription. The 11 NFL teams he expects to likely make a quarterback change after this year. I won't ask you to guess all 11 unless you really want to.
Okay.
The interesting takeaway, I will name the 11 teams for you very quickly here. Atlanta, Carolina, Dallas with Dak Prescott,